Christian Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Epiphany, The Season of Glory by Fleming Rutledge. Narrated by Nan McNamara. The Fullness of Time. Series Preface. Esau Macaulay, Series Editor. Christians of all traditions are finding a renewed appreciation for the church year. This is evident in the increased number of churches that mark the seasons in their preaching and teaching. It's evident in the families and small groups looking for ways to recover ancient practices of the Christian faith. This is all very good. To assist in this renewal, we thought Christians might find it beneficial to have an accessible guide to the church year, one that's more than a devotional, but less than an academic tome. The Fullness of Time project aims to do just that. We have put together a series of short books on the seasons and key events of the church year, including Advent, Christmas, Epiphany, Lent, Easter, and Pentecost. These books are reflections on the moods, themes, rituals, prayers, and scriptures that mark each season. These are not, strictly speaking, devotionals. They are theological and spiritual reflections that seek to provide spiritual formation by helping the listener live fully into the practices of each season. We want listeners to understand how the church is forming them in the likeness of Christ through the church calendar. These books are written from the perspective of those who have lived through the seasons many times, and will use personal stories and experiences to explain different aspects of the season that are meaningful to us. In what follows, do not look for comments from historians pointing out minutiae. Instead, look for fellow believers and evangelists using the tool of the church year to preach the gospel and point Christians toward discipleship and spiritual formation. We pray that these books will be useful to individuals, families, and churches seeking a deeper walk with Jesus. Author's Preface. In the 1940s, when I was very young, my mother occasionally took me with her as she did her regular stint as a member of the Altar Guild in our tiny Episcopal church in Tidewater, Virginia. The calendar of the church year always hung on the wall of the sacristy, in a format that can still be seen today in some parishes. All the days of the year were shown in their proper liturgical colors, and it was cheerful to look at. Epiphany was green. That calendar fascinated me as a child. It was a visual companion to my mother's reverent altar work and my grandmother's King James Bible. All my life, I have found the liturgical calendar to be a primary source of identity, belonging, and delight. I am therefore grateful to be able to make this contribution to a new series about the seasons of the church year. It is intended not for academic specialists, but for anyone: pastors, church musicians, teachers, worship leaders, students, inquirers, anyone at all who wants to deepen their understanding of a rich and ancient heritage, or to begin to learn it for the first time. A great many Christians have not been nurtured in the church's calendar, except for the more or less universally recognized holidays of Christmas and Easter. This lacuna in Christian heritage is beginning to be replenished rather unexpectedly. Groups of Protestants with no experience of the liturgical year have begun to show a marked interest in it. This phenomenon is most welcome. It is part of a renewal of interest in the patristic and medieval periods generally, and in the many treasures to be found in some of the traditions that were discarded after the Reformation. I am very much a Reformed Protestant thinker myself, so I am hoping that this book will appeal to those who have not been immersed in the more Catholic traditions. This exciting new phenomenon of inquiry and experimentation comes with a caveat, however. Many worshiping communities have enthusiastically taken up using the ancient calendar as though it were an easy thing to accomplish, as though lighting an Advent wreath, a very recent development, and releasing balloons on the day of Pentecost, ditto, would do the trick almost overnight. On the contrary, understanding and enacting the seasons in their depths requires patient learning and substantial immersion. A superficial Advent, in particular, may...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?